Today is a good day. Wuthering Waves 3.0 has just come out not too long ago, and even more importantly, Zenless Zone Zero 2.5 has come out.
The truth is, from the moment that sword chose me, I knew exactly what
Ah, come on, man. Why does nobody care about Zenless? I feel like I'm an advertiser for this game. Anytime I bring it up, they gotta put me on payroll or something. Why are you talking about ZZZ? Nobody cares. Well, I had to uninstall it to make enough room for the WUWA 3.0 update. So I know it's been a while and I only plan to take like 3 or 4 or 5 days off for the holidays, but then of course, as my luck would have it, I would be out for another 5 days because I'd randomly get hit with one of the worst illnesses that I've ever had. Gacha games are more like torturing devices when you have luck like this. So instead of just waiting a little longer, it's finally time to get out of bed and talk about gacha games like an absolute loser. My last video made some people a little upset. I know, shocker. So for those who like to watch Star Rail content, let me try to make something out of nothing and talk about a game that is in the worst content drought that it has ever been in. But anyways, I've recently noticed that the Hoyo game being thrown up against Wuthering Waves hasn't been Genshin Impact. And as of recently, it seems like there has been a ton of comparisons between HSR and WUWA. And I think it's pretty funny because Star Rail is literally in the worst state it's ever been in. And that's not an exaggeration whatsoever.
Which game is the better game? And I have spent a lot of time pondering this question. It is really not easy to choose a winner here. But after asking myself this question again and again for an entire week straight, I have finally come to a conclusion. And for the winner, I choose
Clear up Scare, Expedition 33.
But obviously a huge voice in the HSR community is the one that's sparking this conversation, and it's kind of funny because I don't remember the last time where Box was blatantly rage baiting a whole community for such a long period of time. And don't go attacking Box just because he's rage baiting. I think he's doing it because there is literally no content to make on Honkai Star Rail without completely pulling something out of your ass. But at least we're finally getting some buffs for some fan favorite characters like Sparkle and Black Swan, so there is some good news. Oh, let me act like this matters. Oh, this is great. We're actually getting character buffs, even though they probably won't matter in like 2 weeks. But at least they remembered that people actually like these older characters more than the new ones. The thing is, when we're talking about buffing Sparkle, even though she isn't the strongest, she does have a niche that she operates fairly well in. And that's a lot more than what some of these older units can say, like the first form of the 17 conversions of Don Hang, who's practically useless right now. And Sparkle supports one of the best 5-star DPS in the game right now, but sure, why not buff her? And then when we're talking about Black Swan, she's absolutely terrible. It's 2026, let's not sugarcoat it. There's units that do her job, but way better. Not to mention some of the other units that are in the same boat, if not worse. Remember, we have a hybrid DPS healing monster like Hyacine, and then we have Luocha on the other hand. So it's interesting that some of these characters are going to be completely forgotten about at this point. Wuthering Waves is getting older, and they've only run into this problem with a character like Yinlin, who obviously is completely terrible and needs a buff. Other really bad units can be made better through skill expression because of how Wuthering Waves combat works, but it's especially hard to make a bad character in Star Rail work because of the fact that the combat isn't super reaction time based or complex. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like Wuthering Waves 3.0 was the greatest update of all time or anything. In fact, I think that 2.0 was far better, and that isn't a bad thing because I think that WUWA 2.0 was the greatest gacha update of all time. It honestly completely revived the faith of a lot of people, especially that faith that they had when the game first came out that they lost over the course of maybe 1.x. The music was way better, the environment was way more vibrant, and there was a lot more quality of life updates implemented in one update. But 3.0 regardless was an incredible update for the game, and I've noticed recently that WUWA is really stepping up these character designs, which is actually something that Star Rail had over their heads for the longest period of time. But for example, let's take a look at the most recent character that was drip marketed for Honkai Star Rail. Come on now. This is pretty embarrassing, especially because of the fact that HSR really needed a banger here, because there already isn't much to look forward to when it comes to the next update. And then right here we have a character that clearly has no soul at all. Even compared to some of the characters in Star Rail that came out way before her, it's obvious that they just kind of threw whoever this is into an AI generator or something, and they were like, oh yeah, let's just call it a day. Like, this is good, this is okay. But then we have Wuthering Waves, where recently they've released a character like Lene, who obviously looks better than a certain character from a certain game that I'm not going to mention. And then the most recent drip marketing for however you say her name, you know who I'm talking about. It's this girl with the pink hair. But anyways, enough about her. Who cares? There is finally another man in Wuthering Waves. But DG, we just got Qyon in 2.7. Yeah, but that's not enough. I want more. Pause. When you look at a guy like this, you realize how far Kura has come with these character designs and have made it one of their biggest pros. And they've had plenty of chances to coast, especially because of their recent win at the Game Awards and really just having a pretty successful year overall in 2025. But Wuthering Waves continues to have a great quality product and even improving in some key areas. So if you're wondering what game is better at the moment, sadly, I'm very sorry to announce that it is Wuthering Waves, mostly because of the fact that HSR is in a complete content drought and there's almost too much to do in Wuthering Waves right now because it's a whole new patch cycle. I know it's upsetting right now to face the facts. I really do, because I too wish that Star Rail was the best game in the world, but I can't ignore the state of both titles at the moment. You know, even though I'm being sarcastic, I know a lot of people are still playing Star Rail right now, so I hope it's been going well, and let me know what you've been doing besides maybe looking at fan art on Twitter. I don't know what else you could do. Your word of the day today is revenue. So I thought that we'd look at the gacha revenue, because I'd be a shithead if I made you sit through an entire video of me talking about this chart as if it's really a big deal. Especially since most of the time these things are just a Hoyo glaze fest. It's just because the Hoyo games, even though the quality seems to get worse, the revenue is always going up. And I don't think these numbers are completely made up, but the way they fluctuate is just, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of sus. It doesn't really make any sense, you know. And then sometimes, I remember one time Wuthering Waves was below like 10 million. I don't know if y'all remember that. It was last year that Wuthering Waves was below 10 million. The only thing that gacha revenue proves every go round is that this stuff doesn't matter at all. I think that people cover this stuff because it's just a free video, so I respect the grind. I'd probably do it too if I was just trying to get a free video, you know. I will say though, even though Wuwa gets allegedly sabotaged on these things, they make pretty good money. If you're ever expecting Wuwa to make more money than a Hoyo game, then it's never gonna happen. And ZZZ doesn't count. They're like the middle child of that company. They stopped getting things for Christmas after like 15 years old because they were forgotten about. Anyways, I know my uploads have been wonky, but I will try to get back on my 3-day upload schedule, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, also Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2026. It's 2026. It's gonna be a interesting year, probably. I hope everyone keeps up with their New Year's resolutions for at least the next couple of days. Come on, it's only January 5th right now when I'm recording this. Come on, keep up with your New Year's resolution, please. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you have, you look cute today. Peace.